We are here from ETRetail in collaboration with Yango Tech to do a special panel discussion on Power Up e-grocery demand. Why are we doing this discussion? Because we have seen that consumer demands are evolving. Consumers are going omnichannel, retailers are going omnichannel, but how far have they reached? Do they understand what is the true meaning of omnichannel? So today we have with us K. Radhakrishnan, who is the CEO of Tata Start Quick. Welcome, sir. We have with us Sai Krishnamurthy, COO More Retail.
Right.
We have with us Avinash Tripathi, who is the VP, Concept Head of Reliance Fresh Pick and Fresh Signature. Then we have with us Yevgeny, who is the COO of Yango Tech. Welcome you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we'll start with you. First question to all the panelists over here. I want to understand what is omnichannel. Let's define omnichannel first and then understand how it is changing the game altogether in the retail sector. We'll start with you first.
The way I understand it is that there are a few things which are required. Omnichannel will require the order to be placed on an app or on the phone, but not from the store. It has to be digital in some sense. There has got to be a store the customer can go to. And preferably the definition will complete if the bill which gets to the customer's home is the same name as the name of the store. So that, in a sense, is what omnichannel is, because anything else would be marketplace, or it can be hyperlocal, or it can be quick commerce. But I think omnichannel, that would be the kind of definition.
By same store name, online and offline, can you please elaborate on that?
So if it is Star Quick, for instance, it's Star Bazaar is the store. If there is a company X which is talking to the customer on the app, on the internet, and the customer is placing an order, but they are picking it up from store Y. The bill is in one name, but the store is something else. That I don't think is omnichannel.
Okay. Would you like to add something to it?
Yeah, sure. So if you look at it, there are different shopping missions, right? Multiple shopping missions and multiple channels or formats through which you can fulfill those shopping missions. Omnichannel, in my opinion, is a player who is able to cater to multiple shopping missions through a combination of the different channels. Yeah. And like Mr. Radhakrishnan said, ideally, the order capture or the demand capture should happen in a non-physical presence in the store, right? Fulfillment can be a combination of digital and online. And if I buy something online, I should be able to walk into a store of the same name and have an extended experience of whatever I experience online. That makes it truly omnichannel.
So when you say non-presence at the store, so I want to understand, what if the store is offering the endless aisle option and the consumer goes to the store physically, places the order over there, so won't we consider it omnichannel, and if it is delivered at his or her home?
If you're talking about something like a endless aisle, your order capture, the demand capture that I was talking about earlier is still happening digitally, right? You're not physically picking the product off the shelf and putting it into your basket. So it would still qualify as omni.
Okay. Avinash, what's your thought on the same?
So if you look at what I feel regarding there were earlier offline retailers, then there were online retailers. Now what we have seen, everybody is taking into consideration that shopper is same. They want a seamless shopping experience. So what we are doing as a company, that for the customer, fresh pick, for example, as a fresh pick is same, either in an offline channel or it should be a online channel. The type of offering what we are providing, it should be a seamless customer experience for the customer. That is what is my take on that.
To blur the lines between online and offline.
Yeah.
Yevgeny.
So I'd say we have in our technical digital world slightly different definition, but all along those lines. So the word omni, in my opinion, stands for multi. So multi is anything more than one. So if that's 2 channels, then it's already omni-channel. If it's 4, it's great omni-channel. Now, I would want to look at it as a retailer from the user acquisition point of view, right? So if I have an offline store with the shop front, my user acquisition channel is actually people who are passing by. So this is offline channel number 1. Now I create the white label app with whatever it is. Let's say my store is called Fresh, so Fresh app. Now you can order through the app. Now, it's an important point. If you come into the store and you simply check out through the app, it's not omni-channel. That's just a different way of checkout, enhancing the offline user experience. However, it's not the new user acquisition channel. However, if you can place your order digitally without going into the store through the fresh app, then it's already new channel. And this is different way of placing the order, different way of acquiring the user, which would not bought otherwise. So there you go, channel number 2. Now there is aggregators and marketplaces, right? And I believe that those can be classified as channels as well. If you list it on Amazon, on Dunzo, yes, they are possibly showing off your brand or not showing your brand, selling it as their assortment, and actually charging through their system. The bill comes from that one. However, as a retailer, you still get the revenue, you still get the new user, the different user, through the different channels. So there you go, marketplace and aggregator, channel number 3. And well, we will see, I guess, in the coming years, more and more channels, maybe virtual reality, maybe something else. So the world of Omnichannel is really going to be exciting in the coming years with the technology development.
So you mean to say even if it's online, offline, marketplace, quick commerce, e-commerce, and if the retailer is present across all the channels, then it is called omnichannel?
Quick commerce and e-commerce, right? So how fast you deliver and which platform the customer places the order, which mission you satisfy. Here, I only look mostly from the perspective of user acquisition, right? And then who delivers it and how delivers it, it's just the technical details of these channels. So there are channels which deliver faster. There are channels which deliver slower. And they have different names, different options. However, as long as the retailer is concerned, they want the revenue which they would not have otherwise. So this is a new channel to them, I believe.
I have a slightly different take on this, right? You spoke about as long as the revenue comes in, it should work out, right? But I think the real question here is, say I'm a store that has a physical store and I'm listed on Dunzo, right? Dunzo does the acquisition for me. Me as a store do not actively participate in the acquisition, though I get the revenue, right? Even if a transaction is made, I do not own the shopper, right? I do not know who that shopper is, and I will not be able to customize any experience for that shopper when he or she comes to my store the next time. So from that sense, it's fairly divorced from my physical presence, right? So does that make it truly omni?
That is, I think, another channel. However, I would 100% agree with you that it is a massively handicapped channel because aggregator now owns your user. Aggregator decides what personalizations to give them. Aggregator decides, and if you don't agree with their new commission, they can divert the traffic to someone who is ready to pay better commission. If they don't have enough pickers, or if they have too many pickers, whatever it is, so it's all on them. They control the whole thing, right? So I would say this is still a channel, however, it is handicapped channel. And I believe that what advanced retailers are doing, where they're building their own app or using the white label apps, the technologies like ours, this is exactly where they need to go so that they own the customer and can really triangulate the data and can connect the customers, their offline and online customers, and they can know more and offer better services to them. Because if you simply use the aggregator, on very rare occasions, you will be able to connect the customers from the aggregator with even your loyalty program, right? Which you might want to deploy. And it's your ability to serve customers better and to bring more of them is severely handicapped. So I 100% agree with you.
So do you consider offline channel is important for a retailer to be into that space of omnichannel? You have to be at a store to be a part of that omnichannel. Is it important for that?
I think the offline channel is insanely important because this is great user acquisition channel for your offline business as well as for your online business.
When we are calling omni retailer as such, so it has to go for an offline store presence. Then only it can be called as an offline like a omni-channel retailer.
If you are placing an order digitally and you assume that the people on whom you place the order, they don't have a store. They only have a warehouse. Then that's plain and simple e-commerce.
E-commerce, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that is not...
Omnichannel cannot qualify if you do not have a physical store the customer can go to. Now the difference is, the bill that's coming to me and the store I'm going to, is it the same? If it's not, in my definition, it's not omnichannel.
Yeah, so for the customer, it is like one entity.
Yeah, as for
Channel
customer,
can be different.
Actually, customer doesn't care from where it is coming,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
If the customer is placing an order on A, they place an order because they trust A.
Yeah.
A may be picking it up from B, C, D, and E.
I know, yeah.
Customer doesn't care because
Yeah.
they will hold A accountable for what's being delivered.
May I ask you the question here? So I'm really curious to hear your opinion. Let's say you have a dark store, right? And now from this dark store, you sell through your own app, whatever it would be, as well as that you list your assortment on multiple marketplace and aggregator platforms. So say in my world, kind of in different channels. Would you call this an omni-channel online grocery retailer or not?
No. It
It
has
is
to be
a
proper-
marketplace.
Yeah, it is a marketplace.
If it's only a dark store, it's the same like a warehouse, it's e-commerce. But if I have a dark store and I'm also picking up from number of other smaller guys or bigger guys, doesn't matter, multiple stores, which the customer can see, that's marketplace. Or even if the customer can't see. As long as the bill is from A and the store is A, that's omnichannel.
So I want to add on this. There's a store called DMart Ready. Now DMart Ready is normally they're also selling some product from the store also. Yes. So do we call DMart Ready as a omni-channel entity?
I would, right?
So I think that's the example
yes.
where they are
You
selling.
would.
They are like a dark store, but they are also
Yeah, you
selling
would.
some of the stuff directly from the
You
store
would,
also.
because DMart Ready is not a separate company.
Yeah.
It's the same company. The only thing to distinguish the channel, they called it Ready.
Ready, okay.
But they're not picking from the store. Now in some stores they are.
Yeah.
But there it's coming from a parallel. As for customers concerned, when they go to DMart Ready, or that's in the Western parlance, it's called a click and collect.
Yeah.
Right? You place an order. If you go to UK, you go to Tesco, you can actually place an order and you can pick up from somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, but in the same name of the people from whom you placed an order.
Okay.
I think if you leave the nuances of demand capture and demand fulfillment out, right? If you think from a shopper perspective, irrespective of whether it is physical or digital, if I'm able to provide an integrated experience as a retailer, I think that becomes the easiest way to define me as an
what I told
omnichannel,
earlier, that it has to be
retailer.
seamless shopping
Correct.
experience.
Irrespective of where you are, right?
Yes.
I could have physical stores, I could have an app. All my fulfillment for the app happens through a dark store. I would still qualify as an omnichannel. Though the actual point of fulfillment was not my store, right? It's the same brand, it's the same brand experience that the shopper is getting, irrespective of where she's going.
Well, I think those are the different ways of looking into it, right? So in my world, whoever owns the, in my definition, right? Whoever owns the inventory already is the retailer. And then depending on how many channels he has, you can call it omnichannel or not omnichannel. But again, I think what is important is not exactly the definition, but how we actually, what we learn from this, discussing this, and how we at the end of the day serve our customers better and grow the business at the end of the day through serving our customers better through various channels, no matter how we call them at the end of the day. Would you? I think on here we can definitely agree.
Absolutely.
So we have two definitions over here for omnichannel. One is that the store name should be same, be it online or offline, and the customer can order online and pick it from offline, or maybe go to the offline store and get the delivery delivered at home, right? We call it omnichannel. And the other thing is that if the brand has a presence on marketplaces, e-commerce and quick commerce also, we will consider it as an omnichannel because the retailer is getting the income out of it, right? So, I mean, two different definitions, and you want to understand, we have different opinions for omnichannel, what omnichannel is. But do you think the customer is ready, customer has become omnichannel, and the grocers are ready to serve the omnichannel needs of the consumers? What do you have to say about it?
Actually, the customer doesn't know all our discussion. All they know is that there's an app. What's their promise? Doesn't matter from where they pick up, unless it's a product which they are very particular about. For instance, meat. People want to buy meat from a particular outlet. And if that outlet doesn't have an app, there are many people who will pick up from that outlet and deliver to you. When you go to their app, you will see, I am on the app of Mr. A. I am saying that I want the meat from B, outlet B. Now that, in a sense, is not omnichannel, but that's another kind of commerce, where these people are only fulfillment agents. Because the shop is incapable of delivering to my house, there is an intermediary person. For instance, any of the food delivery people don't own the restaurants. Yeah. You know that you want it from a restaurant, you place an order on the restaurant, these people fulfill. But they would consider themselves part of e-commerce. These people who are actually delivering, because you're paying money to them. You're paying money to the one who is showing you all the restaurants, and therefore, even in grocery, the very same can happen. There are many horizontal players. For instance, Paytm, for instance. They have so many outlets. ONDC is now coming up, where they're showing multiple outlets. You could place an order on any one of those stores, and it can be a fulfillment person who's actually delivering it to you. But that's not omnichannel.
What do you think led consumers to turn omnichannel?
If you think about it, right, going by the definition of omnichannel in terms of multiple fulfillment, not being physically present, omnichannel has always existed in India, even with your kirana. Yeah. Telephone-based ordering, WhatsApp-based ordering has existed way before all these e-commerce players started growing the business here. From a shopper perspective, I think assuming selection is a given, right? And pricing is a given, convenience, right, is extremely important. In fact, pricing and convenience have their own trade-offs, right? There are people who are ready to pay for that convenience. If I do not want to pay for convenience and pricing is the most important piece, then I don't think that is a shopper we are talking about right now. If omnichannel offers me the convenience, we spoke about different need states, right? The different shopping missions. Depending on, for example, it's something that I need right now, or it could be something where I would rather wait for the right selection, even if it is going to come in one day later, right? If there is a player who's ready to offer all such opportunities, anything you want, however you want it, right? That defines convenience for me. And I think that is going to be the driver of omnichannel retail in this country.
But Avinash, is it easy for retailers to turn omnichannel and deliver the consumers wherever, whatever they want, or there are certain challenges involved?
The one thing what we have seen in our gourmet approach, for example, gourmet because we are seeing a lot of availability issues. So a gourmet as a category is also facing a lot of availability issues. So what we have seen in Fresh Pick, like for example, you can only list up to only 8,000 to 10,000 items. Now in an online channel, you can list like 15,000 or 30,000 items. So for the customer, there is always a chance that the product which is not available at a store at a certain point of time, that can be easily available through the online channel. So for the customer, availability, because in our channel, availability is the biggest challenge, whatever channel you take, either offline or online. The biggest challenge what every retailer is facing is of the availability. And I think if we go in an omni-channel route, the availability problem will be much easily handled compared to a normal only going in that one channel approach.
Does it also help in personalizing the needs of the consumer? Yevgeny?
Well, I think omni-channel is and digitally enabled retailers, they can offer the whole new different level of personalization, something that was never possible in the offline stores. Look at the offline stores, right? Of course, there are tools which have been used for decades, but at the end of the day, you go down the aisles and then you have like a promotion, you have a discount, you have something, but you never know whether the customer for whom that particular promotion is relevant is going to pass by that particular shelf where you have this promotion. Now you're introducing the new product, and maybe the customer who was supposed to see that new product, which is very relevant to the customer, at that moment received the text message, was looking on the phone and passed by, right? In the digital world, the opportunity for personalization and for the better service is like times higher. Not only we can show the specifically dedicated assortment, specifically dedicated promotions and deals, we can also do that at the time when the customer is most receptive to this, right? And with the modern tools, we can also do that dynamically. Imagine changing like whatever the promotion in the offline store. You need to put it to your network. Like, for example, for your network, it probably like takes days to change something. It's like
The biggest limitation we have today with physical stores is you know who your shopper is only at the time of checkout, right? Whereas with digital, I know who she is when she actually starts shopping, which means my ability to influence the basket, be it in terms of probably growing the width of the basket or upscaling or maximizing the basket values of what all of us are looking at, right? More importantly, doing it in such a way that it is in line with her purchase behavior and is not kind of intrusive. That's possible with the digital interventions that he's talking about. Physical stores have that limitation.
But I have a different opinion somehow over here. Somehow I feel you say that marketplaces, e-commerce also qualify for this thing, for being an omnichannel. How can they personalize the needs of the consumers as per the retailer's demands? Because the retailer knows that he has been observing the behavior of the ex-consumer. And if what the ex-consumer, instead of going to his online store, he goes to the marketplace. So marketplace will treat him as their customer and customize their needs as per what he has been purchasing earlier, right?
I absolutely love your question. Thank you so much for asking. And the thing is that because the marketplace owns the customer, marketplace or the aggregator works for itself, not for the retailer. Of course, it needs the retailer. But I would not say that this is exactly the symbiotic relationships. And I would say that in many occasions, in markets which are already mature, those are becoming to some extent abusive relationships where aggregator decides what to do with the retailer because the retailer doesn't have the means to reach the customers directly without the help of the aggregator. And aggregator simply bids retailers against each other because otherwise they're going to lose all of this revenue. And that actually one of those things which makes our business possible, because what we do is we come to the retailers and we say, look, those are the guys who are venture capital backed, hundreds of developers, millions and millions of dollars into the acquisition and into the technology. So unless, guys, you are prepared to spend money which is comparable with how much those venture capital backed companies can spend, unless you are capable of attracting the same quality talent, there is very low chance that you are going to build the technology which is capable of fighting with them on their home turf. So here come where we have the technology which is tried and tested on the billion-dollar business, and I'm saying, how about we give you this tech so that you own your customer, you control your customer, you offer your personalization, you deploy your strategies, and all of this on pay-as-you-go basis. And I can see that this is going to be the trend, and we are obviously in demand in other markets. And all retailers these days are starting to understand this, and obviously India is very much emerging market, and I can see that, well, everyone present here is actually figured this out quite a while back, right? So you're already doing exactly something that I'm telling that is going to help you resist the aggregators. Is that how actually, if you don't mind me asking, how did that realization came to you, and when was the decision made by yourselves to actually go for your own customers and control them? So how was the evolution happening? I
think in the offline, what we have seen because we are mostly having an offline store with a limited presence in the online space, but what we have seen that customers are now ready. Earlier, but if you look at self-checkout, you will hardly see any of the grocery store having self-checkout in the store. While if you look at Western concept, you have mostly in all the stores, you have that self-checkout concept. Now, when we started self-checkout concept with the personal shopper approach in Fresh Pick, we were very skeptical whether it will work, whether it will not work, because first time we were implementing, because in India is a very customer service market. To go for a self-service type of, whether it will work or not.
And the SKU count is also high.
But we have seen like 30% of our customers are now shopping from self-checkout and personal shoppers. So that is where the transition is happening. And automated checkouts, like the next step will be the automated, going forward with the automated. As of now, it is personal shopper and self-checkout. There's a trend happening. We never thought that this type of technology will have 30% of the sales coming from personal shopper. People will go and shop there. For them, it is like an excitement for them. So I think we are going in that route of a digitalization. Most of the offline retailers also now understanding the need of a digitization. That is where they are implementing, like you look at our apparel format, Ajote.
But Sainam, I want to understand, I mean, you also deal in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities also. So I want to understand how the consumer is changing, consumer demand is changing over there. Because, I mean, if we say tier 1 and metro cities, consumer are open to disclose their details online, right? But is it so in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities as well?
Actually, this notion of tier 2 shoppers probably being significantly behind tier 1, I think is a misnomer, right? Thanks to mobile penetration, and more importantly, I think if you look at the kind of economic growth that's happening here, people there have the means. If at all anything, they are far more perceptive to newer experiences and adopting anything which is new, as opposed to the relatively more cynical metro shopper, the way I would look at it, right? So from that perspective, these guys have the money. They do not have the access today, right? And anybody who provides access, I think they have absolutely no problem in supporting them.
I don't know. I'm not so sure. You know, when COVID's come and gone, I hope it never comes back. And everybody thought, oh, the whole world has moved online. Everybody's going to buy online. It's so convenient. I place an order, it comes to my house. Look what's happened in the last 1 year. Everybody's gone back to store.
Offline, yeah.
The online is dying to get customers. The online is struggling to get customers. Customers are very happy shopping in the offline. That's how Indians are. We want to go and see. We don't trust anyone. We want to go to the store and see it yourself, buy it yourself. It is an outing. You know, unlike in Moscow, we don't have a place to go and sit and actually have a holiday, Ginny. So I'm saying the point I'm trying to make is shopping is also an outing. People want to get out of the house. They go to a store, walk around, have a drink, come home. Okay? So therefore, it's very important to understand that online, which was flying during that time, which was the need of the hour, I don't think is really the primary way that the consumer wants to shop. Tier 2 towns, I don't think e-commerce will happen in grocery, because grocery is a local business. People are not time poor. There is not that much of traffic in Tier 2. You can travel across the whole city in 1 hour. So why would you want e-commerce? Somebody pay delivery charge. Tier 2 e-commerce grocery, in my view, is not happening. All other categories where there's no access, yeah, maybe.
But I somehow disagree to the views on certain category. Like for example, I'll just give you one example of our store. Our store in Jabalpur is selling highest sushi rice in the country.
That's what I'm saying. Where there's no access.
So when there's now the sushi rice, I cannot supply to all, because in Jabalpur we have only one store. But the market is ready for sushi rice. That is what the market is showing.
My question is, can you make a 100 crore company with sushi rice?
I'm saying
you can, of course you can sell. I mean, I have a chocolate, which is like
for the channel. So I'm saying the tier 2 channel should not be neglected. That is what we are saying. Because tier 2 as a growth story is much higher in tier 2 compared to.
And I don't think it's a question of one channel replacing the other or online replacing offline, right? The way I look at it is we're talking about it complementing each other.
That is what we are saying.
I don't want to lug back a 20 kg bag of rice or a 6 kilo pack of detergent back home. I go there for the experience, right? I go there, buy whatever. I'm not going to buy a lipstick online, at least for starters, right? So you go there, you do all of it, kids have a good time, you pick up candy, whatever it is. You still expect that bag of rice, that bag of detergent to get delivered home. And I think that's where Omni has a role to play even in tier 2.
Something which the consumer has already tried and trusted, they are okay to place the order online. And if there is something new which they haven't tried, which they want to touch and feel, they go offline for that.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And that's where you need to have the omnichannel, so that you know who is that customer who discovered something, and then you can show this whole thing. If you know what he have bought offline, then you can show the same thing online. And I think just commenting on that point which you have made about tier 2 and tier 3 cities, the key, in my opinion, here is the value proposition, right? And there is sort of an inflection point of where the service needs to be to start really growing and to really satisfy the need of the audience, right? Before the age of quick commerce, right, there are different customer missions, as you rightly said, and there is a family stock up mission, and that mission is usually much less time sensitive, and that mission is actually very much experiential mission, right? And then there is like a weekly top up mission, and then there is immediate need mission, right? And those missions are much more time sensitive, much less price sensitive, and they're much less about experience. They're about like getting what I need and getting down to my business, right? As you rightly mentioned, in tier 2 cities, they're very much more about the experience, not time poor. So their stock up missions, probably much less of that stock up missions happening there. And indulgence or immediate need, like in tier 2 cities, like, I mean, you woke up, you have the beautiful nature and stuff, like, what do you need immediately? Like, you already have everything, like, but the world is changing, the world is adjusting, and there are many people who are starting to rush somewhere to do something different, right? So this audience is growing, as you rightly said, and with the penetration of the technology, many of these people are now actually working and doing the work and living the lifestyles of like kind of starting to live the lifestyles of bigger cities, right? And I think you call this type of audiences like an aspiring, right? Aspiring. Absolutely love this term. It's like I first time heard it actually from India. I think in the European world it's a different term. Any which way. We have this value proposition, right? So before the era of Q-commerce, no one thought that this indulgence and stock up missions can be satisfied like with the delivery through digitally, because the only way was to go downstairs to nearest shop and buy. And if there is no nearest shop, tough luck, you're not getting your indulgence. That's it. Now, there was no technological means to deliver that fast. Also, that model was not financially viable before the technology. I mean, you put like the cost of delivery, this is so much, and you couldn't make a profitable business on that. And there are so many businesses which actually went bust trying to do that. Like there are big news stories, right? Not in India yet. I mean, there are Indian companies who are actually successful with that, right? So once you do this value proposition, and then the customer says, wow, that's actually possible, right? And they tell their friends, and it seems like, well, we actually need it, we like it. And then you see like what is the audience with it. Now, the technology is enabling us to offer the new value proposition which was not available before. And once we reach certain threshold, if you deliver me my indulgence mission in 30 minutes, I don't want it. In 23, maybe I want it. Where is that inflection point? We yet to find out, but it is there. And once we hit it, the exponential growth of the new business model in tier 2 cities is absolutely inevitable. And there are companies who are actually going to be ready for this. At least these guys here for sure.
So one more thing, you want to say something?
No,
Yeah. So one more thing which I've observed is that Indian consumer looks for discount when they come online, and when they go offline, they're happy to pay whatever the amount is mentioned over there. So do you think, is it easy for such consumers to give them omnichannel services?
No, I don't think anyone will pay a high price anywhere.
Even offline, they pay whatever they see. I doubt it. I actually agree with Sarah.
So I've seen lots of consumers in the space of apparel, if I talk about, they go to sites like Myntra and all, and they check if it's available on discount, they buy it. Not the new collection I'm talking about, maybe the older collection. And if they go to the stores, they buy the new collection also from there.
Yeah, so I don't know so much about apparel, but as far as grocery is concerned, there are so many channels, Charu. And, when I started retail, that seemed a long time ago, actually. My boss at that time told me, retail is a very simple business till such time that you want to start making money. so when you don't want to make money, you'll courier something across the country, you'll do whatever you want to do. If the moment you want to start making money, all these channels vanish. And there are only a few ways of doing grocery business. Grocery is a very low margin business, and therefore, the best will come out in a grocery retailer. Apparel has enough margin. They are able to courier it out, across the country. They have double-digit margin, maybe triple-digit. I don't know. But, the point is, grocery is really the test of efficiency. So all these channels are all good. Everybody can do everything until you want to start making money.
So true.
So my last question to all the panelists is, how do you think grocery buying is going to change in the future in India?
You know, I started doing grocery in 1996. How many of you born? So,
It's wrong asking our age on the camera.
sorry, and unfortunately, I'll have to reveal my age as well. But at that time, there was a brand called Tasty Buy, and a guy called Ravi Nigam. He actually launched it in Pune, and that time he came and said, India is going to change. It's like a retort pouch. So you just put in boiling water and you can eat. So he said there's going to be, heat and eat era is coming up. There's so many young people. So I gave 2-3 shelves to him. Nothing happened in 3 years. Nothing has happened in 30 years. Where grocery is going to change is if the kitchen changes. This change has to start from the kitchen. At least the frozen food area and the fridge has got a little bigger. Therefore, people are putting more, instead of putting just ice for your drink, they're putting some food into it. I think the way we are cooking, the way we are eating, and thank God we cook 3 times fresh, right? And unless that's going to change, grocery in India is not changing.
Okay.
So from a shopping perspective, it's been 96 is when modern trade in India technically started.
I opened the first store.
Okay. So I was just telling him right before, it's been a little shy of 30 years now, right? Even now we are talking about organized retail being less than 15% of the total grocery consumption in the country. 600 billion versus about 65 billion of modern trade is where we are at after 25 years, right? And now suddenly we are talking about e-commerce, and like you said, e-commerce growing double digits sequentially and surprising a lot of us. For example, I wasn't very sure about Qcom when it first launched in terms of how sustainable it is going to be. It surprised and shut a lot of us up, right? There is enough space for the 3 channels. I don't think anybody is going to entirely take away the other person's business. General trade will continue to be the source of growth for both physical organized retail as well as digital retail, right? So it is that flux that we will continue to see. And like Mr. Radha said, as your palette changes, right? Kitchens are expanding in terms of the repertoire of dishes that they are making. All of that will start making organized retail a lot more relevant because access to those ingredients, access to those fresh produce is something that this channel is probably best equipped to bring in.
So what we have seen that there's a category health. Health as a portfolio is growing big time. And what we mentioned that most of the customers are now aspirational. So people are looking for aspirational product. And there are certain something like 10 years back when you started, that time jams was the category on the breakfast table. Now you look at now, you will hardly see jams as a portfolio, but you will see more of a peanut butter. So that is where the change is happening. So that is what I agree to what you mentioned, that is how the kitchen is changing. So when from a jam category, that is moved to, so as a retailer, we also need to be completely innovative in terms of what the new offering coming up, like a plant-based milk is the other thing which is going big time now. Earlier it used to be like nobody was having almond milk or oat milk. Now you see in any of the cafe or any of the, you will see that there's always a vegan option in the store. So I think as a trend, it is moving toward on more after COVID, people are more health conscious, and that is where we have seen a good trend. And I think as soon as we innovate, I think more progress will happen in this.
I'm very much fascinated with India and with how the customer behaviors evolve here. And I think that we, of course, can draw some inspiration and we can see the experience of the other countries which are in their economical development a little bit ahead. And many of those things are going to happen in India. Definitely not all of them. But what we can see that there's some major things which are driven by the essential human needs. As the customers here become more wealthier, they inevitably become more sophisticated. And they demand similar things based on similar needs as the more developed countries' customers have, right? However, they are going to demand it in a very different way. And as you mentioned, like cooking fresh 3 times a day, right? It's like completely different for us, obviously great for the grocery retailers and everyone around this industry. For us, it's great, right? But there were some things which happened in more mature markets inevitably going to happen here. If there are grocery retailers in the other countries who get over 50% of their revenue from the online, inevitably, retailers like this are going to emerge here. So those who figure out the tech better than the others, who figure out how to do it, they are going to take this. This is going to happen. Now, if there are massive companies based on the concept of gourmet or premium assortment built in the other countries like wholesale markets, etc., then inevitably there is enough audience here to make those concepts massive. Obviously not as massive as like those with discounters who are targeted for anyone and everyone. So those things are coming here. And the great thing is that we have seen it in the other countries. Now we can learn from this and be ready and seize this opportunity. And this country doesn't have the shortage of entrepreneurial talent and the intelligence. So definitely the massive growth is coming here, and those opportunities to be seized by the forward-looking retailers. So just to summarize on your question, I think that definitely online is going to continue to grow, and those concepts which already emerged in mature markets are going to explode here, but 10 times bigger.
Oh,
yeah.
High hopes from India, that is. So what I've understood from this discussion is that consumer needs are changing, their palate is changing, their taste, the way they used to see things are changing in the grocery space. They are ready to spend more. They want to experience what the Westerners are experiencing. And apart from that, organized retail in collaboration with GT is going to flourish going ahead, right? Yeah, cool. Thank you so much for a wonderful discussion over here. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Hope you also enjoyed it. We'll see you soon. Till then, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.